Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a really simple envelope cushion. When I was first learning to start to sew, the envelope cushion was my very first actual sewing project. I could barely use a sewing machine and I had practiced on some scraps of fabric learning to sew in a straight line, and then my teacher Mary at the time was like, okay, we're going to make a cushion, and I was so excited. You'll be surprised at how simple this is. Now you are going to need a sewing machine for this. From chatting to a lot of you guys on Instagram and on Facebook, a lot of you guys have sewing machines but they're gathering dust in storage. So I think this is a good way to get the sewing machine back out of storage, dust the cobwebs off, thread it up and have a go at making today's DIY. What I love about the envelope cushion is, so basically, you don't have to do a zip, which I'll hold my hands up, I'm still a bit scared of zips. So it's just an envelope opening on the back, so you can easily put your cushion pad inside. They're washable, so whenever you want to wash it, you can easily take it off, fling them in the washing machine, and they're just really simple to make. You'll knock these out in about 20 minutes. I think cutting the fabric takes the longest, sewing it is so quick. I knocked up 4 of these in today's video, and I love how they turn out. I have teamed up with Hickeys for this video, and all of the items that I'm using in today's video, from fabric to scissors, everything you can pick up in Hickeys. I will also have a blog post. If you find it easier to follow a written kind of step-by-step, I will have a blog post on my website and I will link to all of the items and fabrics that I use in today's video. So what you're going to need for this video, the first thing is fabric. Picking fabric for a project is my favourite thing to do. I love all the florals, I love all prints, stripes, I just love it. So picking fabric is my fave. If you are a newbie, I would recommend getting a cotton or polycotton heavier fabric. The cushion I made today, this is actually a dress fabric, and there is a tiny bit of stretch. When starting out, be kind to yourself, stick to kind of the cottons and the heavier ones. They're just easier to kind of sew it in the beginning, and then the more confident you can get, you can go on to more difficult fabrics. So I have made 2 types of cushions today. I have made the little floral one, which is a 16-inch, and then I made a contrasting pink one, and this is 18-inch, and the fabric of this one is much thicker. There's not much stretch in this. This is like a lovely kind of heavy cotton fabric. It's really nice. It feels quite expensive. So these are the 2 fabrics I've used today. It all depends on the size of the cushions you want to make, but I'll get myself a metre of fabric and see how I get on. Depending on what I'm making, I might like get 1.5 meters of fabric just to allow for mistakes. But if you take your time, you shouldn't have mistakes. I also have some really nice, this is that like kind of polycotton craft fabric I was telling you about. This is a dream to work with. When I was sewing teddy bears, I would swear by this fabric. These make lovely cushions and lovely teddy bears, but they're just really nice fabric. I have another go. How lovely is this fabric here? And this is nice and thick. There is a lot of florals. I noticed in Hickeys at the moment when I was looking online and in store to get inspiration for this project. I seen a lot of floral fabrics. So my ladies who love the floral fabrics, do head on over. Once you are happy with your fabric, you're then going to get thread in contrasting colours. Now when it comes to thread, do not buy cheap thread. That is my biggest tip. Basically, when you put cheap thread through your sewing machine, you can get like stitches that don't come out properly and it'll just break your heart. So when you see those kind of cheap sets of threads, I would keep them just for hand sewing. When it comes to your machine, I swear by the Gutterman threads. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You know how I am with pronouncing names. But the Gutterman threads, they are my favourite for the machine. They don't bunch up and I just swear by them. So always buy a decent thread for your machine and keep the cheap threads for hand sewing. You're then going to need some pins because you're going to be pinning your fabric together in this project, and I swear by pins. The more pins the better. You'll see some videos and they literally just kind of sandwich it together and throw it through the machine. I swear by pins. So if you are a beginner, pins are your friend, and the more the merrier. Then going to need a good fabric scissors. I always say invest in a good scissors. When I started out sewing, I would buy cheap supplies, and you end up having to replace them anyway. So if you are a newbie sewer and you're wanting to kind of build your kit, invest in a good fabric scissors. A lot of them can be sharpened, so you'll get years out of a good scissors. You're then just going to need some paper, so whether it's brown paper, craft paper, something that you can draw a template onto. You're then going to need your sewing machine, so dust off the cobwebs from your sewing machine and get it out and set it up. You could hand sew this project, or you could use maybe like an iron-on kind of wonder web, but get the machine out, have a shot. It's so simple to sew, and you'll feel great afterwards when you've made your cushion. So that is everything you're going to need. You can also refer back to my blog post on my website if you want to have a read, because I have a list of everything that you will need. So if you want to reference that as well, you can. So now I'm going to talk to you how to make your cushion and put it all together. So for this DIY, I made myself a template. The reason why I made myself a template is if you are making a batch of cushions, it makes it so much easier if you're cutting out lots of fabric, because you're not measuring the fabric every single time. In today's video, I made two sizes. I made a 16-inch cushion, so it's 16 by 16, and I also made an 18-inch cushion, which is 18 by 18. So basically you can just extend your pattern depending on the size you want to make. What I will say is you need to leave a 1-inch seam allowance. So basically, instead of measuring out 16 inches by 16 inches, I measured out 17 inches by 17 inches. Because when you go to the machine and sew, you leave 1 inch as your seam allowance. For this DIY, you are going to have 3 pieces of fabric. You basically have a front piece and you have 2 back pieces which form the envelope opening. For the front piece, you're going to measure out 17 inches by 17 inches on some paper and then cut that out. And that's going to be your front piece, which you have 1 piece of fabric for that. Then for the back 2 pieces, you're going to measure out 17 inches by 14 inches. So you're taking 2 inches off. And this is basically, this just allows for the gap here. And this makes it easier for your envelope to open. So front 17 by 17, measure that out. And the back 17 by 14. And that is, you're going to have 2 templates. So you're going to cut 1 piece off the front and you're going to cut 2 pieces of fabric for the back. I hope that makes sense, but do reference my blog post where I've kind of done a step-by-step as well if you find that easier to follow. Before you pin your template to your fabric, I always recommend ironing your fabric first. You can also wash your fabric before using it. When it comes to kind of like cushions and stuff, I normally don't wash the fabric, but if I was making a dress or a skirt, I would wash the fabric because that takes out any shrinkage. I would then dry it and iron it before using. For today, you can just iron your fabric, but I cannot stress enough, your iron is your friend when it comes to sewing. You don't want to cut out on creasy fabric. Even if the fabric looks crease-free when you get it from the shop, always run the iron over it. Once your fabric is ironed, you can then pin on your template or your pattern. So pin it on in a way that will save you fabric. You'll notice in this I pinned the front section in half. That's because my fabric was on the fold. So to save fabric and not waste it, I have 1 piece on the fold and the other 2 pieces are pinned together. You can just use your sewing pins then to pin it on and cut it out, and take your time cutting out your fabric. Cutting fabric is just as important, if not more important, than the actual sewing itself, because if you make a mistake when you're cutting your fabric, you can't really go back and fix it. So what's it they say? Measure twice, cut once. So take your time cutting your fabric. And always, always, always use your fabric scissors. Don't be tempted to use a cheap scissors because it's not going to cut correctly. Use a nice sharp fabric scissors. Once you have your 3 pieces of fabric cut out, we are now going to work on the back 2 sections, and we're going to put a hem on these. So when you look at my cushion, this back section here, the reason why we put a hem on it is so that basically it's exposed and you see it from the outside. If you didn't put a hem on this, it would all just be fraying, pulling apart, messy, sloppy. So we put a hem on both of these 2 pieces to make it nice and polished and perfect, and the fabric won't fray on you. So this is where your trusty iron is going to come back in. So you are going to fold over 1/2 inch and you're going to press that down. You can use your measuring tape as a guide. When you start making the cushions, you kind of just know. Sometimes I use my fingernail as a guide. So you can use the measuring tape, but fold it over 1/2 inch and press. Once you get a good line, fold it over again on itself by another 1/2 inch and press. If it's a cotton or a poly cotton, it will kind of just hold its shape. Now, this fabric that I used on this cushion, as this is a dress fabric, I just popped in a few pins to keep it in place. But when I was making this one, because this is a heavier fabric, when I ironed this, it stayed in shape, so I didn't need to add pins. You are now going to take it to the machine, and you're just going to do a straight stitch all along that hem. So a straight stitch, you just follow the settings on your sewing machine to get it into the straight stitch setting. I always start with a reverse stitch and finish with a reverse stitch. It's just kind of habit. So basically do a little reverse stitch, that just stops your thread from coming loose and unraveling on you. And you're going to add a hem to both back pieces. So a straight stitch, I can't say that, a straight stitch all along the two pieces. So now you're going to put all your pieces together. This is the fun part. I like to lay my pieces out on the floor. I just find it easier. You can use your kitchen table as well, or you might have a sewing table, but I like to just put them on the floor. So you're going to lay your fabric on the ground. So lay your 16 by 16 piece on the ground, the front piece, and lay it with the patterned side facing up to you. You are then going to place the two back pieces, but the wrong side will be facing you, leaving the two patterned sides of fabric facing each other. You are then going to add loads of pins, and I add my pins so that they're facing outwards because it means you can sew over them. If you pin the other way, you have to take them out at each, when you get to a pin on your machine. Simply place them facing out and you can sew through them, and then you can just take them out when you're finished. So once your cushion is all pinned together, you are going to go to your machine and you are going to stitch all around it. Remember to leave your 1 inch seam allowance. On the plate of your sewing machine, there is some lines. These are just little measurements. Basically, you can get your measuring tape out and just measure 1 inch, or you may have, you can buy these little magnets that you stick on as well. I have one. But I can't find it. But just go by the guide on your plate, measure out 1 inch, find one of the lines, and then use that as your guide when putting your fabric through the machine. So you're going to start on one corner, don't forget to do your reverse stitch, and then take your time sewing all around. So each 4 sides of the cushion, you're going to sew around, and then you're going to finish with a reverse stitch. So now for the fun part. Once your cushion is all stitched, you're going to just do a little snip in each corner. So you're just going to snip off the little triangle in the corner. Basically, when you fold it right way out, you want your corner, you want a perfectly like pointed corner. So you're going to snip this to give you that corner when you turn it right way out. Inside out, right way out, you know what I mean. And this is where you get excited because it now looks like a cushion. So I would then give it one last iron. So iron out your seams, make it nice, pretty and perfect. And then you can insert one of your cushion pads. So insert your 16 inch cushion pad or your 18. You can get loads of different sizes in Hickeys. I think they even go up to a 24 or a 26. You can get loads of different sizes. They also do the smaller kind of rectangular cushion filler as well. So you can get really creative and crafty with all the different sizes that you can buy. So now you can admire and style your new cushions. So the cushions I made in today's video, I wanted to freshen up my pink couch. You might have saw my pink couch on Instagram, so I wanted to freshen up with some new spring cushions for this. So I made some cushions that would match my couch, but you can get so creative. Maybe you want to use them in your living room, your bedroom. Some of these pink ones actually, I think I'm going to make 2 more and have some pink cushions on my bed because it matches my bedspread. So that is my cushion DIY. For my Irish ladies, the guys at Hickeys do free craft demos. And one of them actually, I was looking on their website last night. One of them is get to know your sewing machine, or how to use your sewing machine and sewing tips. So if you are kind of new or you want to have a refresh, if you go onto their website and hit the blog section, I'm going to link it in my blog post, but they have a list of craft demos, and there's one every other week. Now it's in selected stores and you do have to register, but there's classes from like Roman blinds making to beginner sewing machine lessons. Like there's something kind of there for everyone. So do check out their craft demos. I'm tempted to try the Roman blinds making class. I think that would be a fun one to make and do. So do let me know if you have a shot at making a cushion. Tag me on Instagram. DM me with your pictures. I love seeing what you make if you've made it from one of the videos. I love sharing my faves on my Insta stories as well. I also just want to say a massive thank you to the guys at Hickeys for sponsoring this video and teaming up with me to bring you this tutorial. If you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you all next week. Bye everyone!